Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we get to take a look at the 2025 Toyota GR86. This is the Hakone edition, and today we're out here at Charlotte Motor Speedway where we actually get to take this around the track and really see how well it performs. Now, if you're new to the channel, I owned a GR86, so we have a lot of videos on that vehicle, the playlist that you can check out, along with all of the modifications that I did to this car. But in today's video, this is a stock vehicle, and it is going to be a lot of fun to show you how well this performs in the stock configuration. This model is also finished off in Ridge Green, and they have a starting MSRP right around $35,000. Now, this is powered by the 2.4 liter Boxer 4-cylinder engine. The model in front of us is paired to the 6-speed manual transmission, and this pumps out 228 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 2,800-pound sports car from 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds. It has a top speed of 140 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 20 miles per gallon in the city, 26 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 104.4 inches. Its overall length is 167.9. It has a width of 69.9 and a height of 51.6 inches. Now, what sets apart the Hakone edition from a normal GR86 is the fact that this has the Sach dampers along with the torsion limited slip. This also gets the Brembo brake calipers as well. There are 4 pistons up front, 2 pistons in the rear. This also has the bronze wheels as well. Aside from that, it's pretty similar to the 86 that I owned. I had a base model. There's also a premium, and then we do have this Hakone edition. Now up front, you'll notice that this has LEDs for the headlight housings, as well as the turn signals there. There's also the Toyota badge in the middle, GR86 over on that driver's side, and then a lot of cutouts in the middle section, as well as both sides there to provide extra cooling to the engine. I also like the lower edges and the lines there just to give it that added look for this sports car. And then there's 2 lines that come down the hood to give it a really nice look. Now, as we work our way to the side, again, we have those bronze wheels, which is a really nice accent. There's also another trim accent just behind that. This has gloss black for the mirror caps, which also matches all of the window trim nicely. And I like the fact that the lower side skirt pokes out slightly. So even from this angle, you can see that bulge out just to give it a really nice look. I think it would be nice to see maybe a wide body like the GR Corolla, maybe have the fenders a little bit wider in the front and the rear to match a little bit more with that lower side skirt. But nonetheless, it has a great look to it. Now, this Hakone edition also has the body colored spoiler. There's a third brake light underneath that, LEDs for the taillights, and then in the lower section, there's the dual exhaust as well as some fins in that lower diffuser there. So from this angle, that spoiler has a great shape to it. Now, being a sports car, this is also practical, and it's very easy to gain access to the trunk. So you can just push on the button on the back. You'll notice there's the Hakone edition badge over on that left side. And then we have a good bit of space. With the back seats up, you can fit in some smaller items. If I move the carpet out of the way, you do get a little bit of storage underneath. There's no spare tire. You could probably put one in there if you removed all of those items there, but then you can also fold down the back seat. So for the smaller size of this vehicle, you can make it very practical. I use this for larger items when I couldn't take my other vehicle. So this was a lot more practical to still have fun in a sports car and still bring items around with you for the day. Now, the Hakone edition also gets a very nice interior. You'll notice the Alcantara on the upper armrest there. There's also leather with the color match stitching. It matches the seats, which I'll show here soon. And then there's your window controls, side mirror adjustments, and a little bit of storage down below. They're also only making 860 units for the US market, so this is a limited production model. Now take a look at the leather and Alcantara seats. With the brown there, gives it a great look. Now, these are all manual seats, so you have the bar up front to slide, and then your height adjustment, your recline, and your incline. Now, the 86 is technically a 4-seater. I rode in the back of my own vehicle once. It is not the best for someone at 5'10", but I'll hop back into it just to show you where we do have a pretty deep lower section here to give yourself more headroom. Now, you'll notice this seat's all the way back, so you have to have basically no legs there to sit, and then at 5'10", I'm up against the roof line here. So you're not really putting people in the back, maybe small kids, maybe a short trip, but it is very practical for extra storage, especially folding down that back seat. You don't have any amenities in the back. There's just an armrest there. You have some speakers, You can still see out though, so there's a lot of visibility if and when you have to put someone in the back seat there. And then from there you can just put the backrest up, and then I will have to adjust this seat to get it back into the correct position here. From there, we can take a look at the steering wheel, where we have the color match stitching, and then cruise control is over on the right side. You also have Bluetooth and voice commands along with volume and tuning. And then on the right side, there's distance pacing for this manual, which I believe is new. You have your Bluetooth controls, and then we have these adjustments for the gauge cluster. So let's fire this up. With my foot on the brake and the clutch, we can put this into neutral with a GR start button. Let's bring it to life. And coming back to the gauge cluster now, you'll notice on the left side, currently there's the PSI. Right in the middle, there's miles per hour in your tach, and then you have some more vitals over on that right side. Now, if I use those arrows, I can scroll through some of this information on the left side, so you can monitor all of these as needed. And then you can even scroll over, look at your lap timer. You have live readouts for your horsepower and torque, your G-force meter, your braking, and your accelerating. And then you have another screen to look at that as well. You can scroll over to your music. You also have the distance pacing. And then we have some of the standard safety features that you can go through, turn on and off as needed. There's also eyesight, which is part of a Toyota safety sense. And then you have a few other car settings and screen settings that you can go into to configure this as needed. So quite a lot over on that screen just to pull up the information that you would like to see, which is nice. And then over on the left side, you have a trunk release along with a dimmer switch. There's one air vent. There's even more Alcantara for the gauge cluster top, which is nice. There's two air vents in the middle, and then we have the touchscreen system just underneath that. Now you do have some physical controls, so you can get into home, where you can pull up all these icons here, where you have your radio, media, you can pair your phone to this system. You do have to have your phone plugged in. So it is located down in the middle there. From my personal experience, I wasn't able to find it wireless, but you have the cord there to use. And then you have other shortcuts here that you can get into, your radio, you have volume and tuning. It's a pretty simple system, but it gives you what you need to use this every day. Now underneath that, we have some more simple controls for all of the climates. You have your temperature on both sides, fan speed right in the middle. You have some more controls underneath that. And then for the toggles, you have defrosters as well as mode. So that's how you can control where you'd like the air to go. There's a recirc and then sync as well. And then for the 6-speed manual, Hakone Edition is on the top. There's the brushed aluminum there. Simply just pull up the lower section there, and that's how you can put it into reverse, showing that backup camera, and then we have the rest of the 6 gears, of course. Now behind that, there's traction control, as well as 2 different modes for your traction control with a track mode too. So you can use these buttons to set that up. It will also change the tach, as you can see right in the middle when you go into that track mode. Now this also gets heated seats. You have the split armrest there, where there's actually 2 hidden cup holders. So you can place drinks there and then close that when it's not needed. And then you also have the glove box with more storage. There's also the manual e-brake. So I know a lot of people like that. It's not electronic. You have that manual release there. There's also the rear view mirror, and then you have dome lights up top. And then here's a look at visibility. It's a small vehicle, but you can see out of that window, out of that back seat window too. And then over the left side, you can kind of see out of that window, but you have a lot more to the right side of that pillar. So now let's go ahead and get this out on the track. So now that we're on track, we're joined with Brian. He hasn't actually driven this out on the track yet. So we're going to experience what this is like. And this is one of the most fun cars I think that you can get. And like I mentioned earlier, I used to own one. I never tracked it, but I did take it to the mountains to really experience what it's like. And in the stock form, especially with this model here, we have the upgraded suspension and brakes. It is such a fun car. It's really easy to drive too. And the handling it's just amazing. If you're looking for a sporty car that you really don't have to do much, even in my base model, I did upgrade the suspension, but the factory suspension was still very, very nice. So for a factory vehicle, one that you can just autocross and have a lot of fun, it's a perfect vehicle. It's not the fastest, but it'll still put a smile on your face.
The suspension definitely feels really nice.
I know, right?
You have the Sach dampers versus just like basic ones. It feels very smooth around these turns.
It's very composed feeling, isn't it?
So it's a very upscale suspension.
Oh, we got cones down. We'll go this way.
Yeah, it's definitely not fast in a straight line, but...
And especially comparing it to the GR Corollas that we've been driving around.
Yeah, but the turns are fun.
The turns are very fun, yeah.
As a passenger, it's pretty confident feeling. Yeah, much smoother on those bumps.
All right, so checkered flag. Let's switch over to Brian's angle.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
And see what you think.
Yeah. On to me driving.
Hey, this is my first time riding passenger all day.
So this thing redlines at like 7,500. So while it doesn't have that much crazy torque, it carries its way pretty decently.
You can feel a difference though, especially with the Corolla.
Oh, it's so light and flat.
Yeah.
Full throttle. Yeah, this is a super light, nimble little car. This is very go-karty. A lot smaller feeling.
Yeah.
But still, honestly, plenty of power to get ripping. A little hard to like rev match by yourself sometimes. But so light on its toes. Yeah, these dampers are very nice, very smooth, and the steering is light but also really precise. Let's rip on those brakes a little bit.
Hey, they got the cones fixed.
Such a go-kart.
I know, you barely even felt those turns.
Yeah, it's really, really fun to hit those turns.
Yeah. I mean, that's just...
It's fun in the turn.
It's like higher sports car level handling.
Oh yeah.
Not power, but...
Definitely not a lot of power.
Yeah.
But man, is it fun whipping it in these turns. And then even for normal driving, like when we've driven these around town, it's a pretty comfortable, normal car. It's a good daily driver. The manual is forgiving for even maybe your first manual transmission. And
Yeah.
I don't find too much, it's a light clutch. There's a little bit of feedback, so it's not bad. But yeah, definitely a fun little car on track, especially with the Brembo brakes, which work really well. And these brakes and the suspension is definitely sweet.
That's gonna wrap it up. If you want to see more videos on the GR86, check out our GR86 playlist since I owned one. That's gonna wrap it up for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. We'll see you all in the next video.